my sense after listening to the music is that anything you can put into words is somehow trivial by comparison to what your heart shows you. And the words can never ever capture the true life, power, beauty of the experience that your heart mirrors. And that's especially so with music. And that was my experience with this music as well. And there's something in this which is very, very significant as a life lesson. I can look at each one of you here, and I can see that, like me, we bring a beautiful soul and heart into a physical form. And we have the dream and the ideal to share something beautiful with the world, from the truth of our being, in a genuine, authentic way. And this comes about because with our heart, even when we were children and we didn't know how to talk about this, we felt something that was inexpressible. We could look around at the world and see there was a disconnect between how people behave and what we could feel in our heart. And we went to school and it didn't get any better. Maybe we went to church and there were little glimpses, but again, it could never explain why nature was such a source of perennial beauty and fulfillment to us. This is never talked about in the churches. But for all of us, the sunrise or the sunset, other beauties of nature seem to mirror something we feel within us that we would love to be able to share or express. And music is one language that this can be beautifully expressed, very effectively expressed. The immediate heart-to-heart contact is another supremely eloquent way that truth can communicate itself with no words at all. Something that rings true in the presence of another being with a heart contact is just as pure as the most beautiful music. And in actuality, it's not necessary to always try and find the words to transcribe that and frame it. But still, with our inspiration, it's something that needs to grow and flow and be shared and become a collective, co-creative expression. And this is what we all want to do with our lives. Always want to find something so wonderful that it would be a great joy to share it with others, and they would blossom because of this wonderful energy or magic or beauty or inspiration or wisdom or love, you name it. The reason why I think this is such a beautiful, what's the right word here? Means, yes. Not a thing, not an object, but definitely is that at once you see it and you sense the mysterious beauty that it has. Chinzia was talking to me about this crystal, and I was really appreciating her ability to recognize and give a very beautiful, exact description of what the magic was. I hadn't, in my mind, I hadn't understood it. I couldn't have spoken about it in that way. But at the same time, I recognized it in Tucson, brought it back to my home, and then for myself, this was the rose crystal that I brought here. And even though I didn't know why, there are reasons. Just as with, you remember the 7 crystals that came from there? I didn't understand that at the time. It doesn't matter. The heart has its reasons that the mind may never grasp, and it doesn't need to. And one of the beautiful qualities of rose quartz is that it exactly mirrors the presence and the energy of the child in the heart. Now, if you can have all of the wisdom of the serpent, that is to say, the education and the intelligence of an adult, and all the innocence of the dove, which means the freshness, the spontaneity, the joyous life energy of a child, and you can channel that energy through the wisdom that you've accumulated from many lives, then the possibility of bringing this magic that you carry out into the world, then it becomes possible. So the very best thing that we can do when we come together in this way is to ignite that spirit of creativity where we will become conscious artists of our lives and embrace this creative response to the opportunity we have and bring something absolutely beautiful, magical, and wonderful into the world. Now, the reason I wanted to play this music, and I wince with the technical difficulties that we're facing, and at least in certain portions of the music you could hear, of all the music I've created, this one has a special feeling because it expresses something that I have felt deep within. Then I first composed the harp music, and then later the full orchestration of it. And it will bring some of that forward. It always leaves me with that feeling. There's a little story. I met a person once who said that on the streets of Toronto, he had met a poor man who was living on the streets. But this poor man had a recording, somehow, a small recording device. And they had a little conversation in the park, and the poor man said, "Listen to this. I really want you to listen to this. This has changed my life." And when he put it on, that was the piece of music he heard. So somehow, I would never have known this. This piece of music crossed paths with this poor man in the park. He heard it, he got a recording, he listened to it, and he felt the magic. And in this brief exchange with a stranger, he said, "I want you to listen to this. This can really change your life." Isn't that a beautiful story to come back through the grapevine to me? It's like the universe is saying to you, yes, you never know the seeds that you throw out into the world, what good they do, but they do touch the lives of others. And they can transmit the magic. And when the magic is ready to blossom, you can be a channel for that to happen. You don't have to know it in your mind. You just have to be the child in your heart who constantly creates and brings this effervescent energy of joyous, spontaneous expression, and do that the very best way your heart shows you. That will be complete. That will be perfect. Everything that has to happen will happen. You don't need to know it up here. So that's what brings us to the present moment.